Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rainworld. Yet another episode with no audio. Again, I am recording in post. Hopefully my heavenly voice will keep you company and keep you entertained for the time being. Again, apologies for no audio. The alternative was not uploading these episodes at all, which is not something I'm willing to do. I mean, seriously, the Let's Play almost ended on that cliffhanger way back 2 episodes ago, something like 3 months ago. So this is probably the better thing. What am I trying to show off there? I don't know. I don't know. Prepare to see me fail the jump yet again and then, like an idiot, work it out. I was talking about Godzilla. How ironic. I mean, not ironic. There's another word for it, but I'm not going to say. What I was saying about Godzilla earlier was that, well, while I was playing the game, was that as a kid, you know, I watched it as a kid. It was awesome. It was cool. But in my memory, Matthew Broderick, I don't remember him being the main actor, the main character. It's not right. And here, I think I tend to take my time, my sweet, sweet time to try and work out how to make the jump. Like an idiot. Why are my dogs still barking in the background? Come on now. Wait, how do I do it? Don't jump from there, you idiots. You can't make it. And I threw my spear as well to try and get some extra momentum, like it would change anything. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, dear me. Matthew Broderick doesn't seem like the right fit for a Godzilla movie. He plays the main scientist who's sympathetic towards Godzilla's cause, realizing that he is in fact a she and trying to protect her eggs and stuff like that. It just, in my kiddie mind, the main hero was just a lot cooler than Matthew Broderick. And rewatching the movie 10 years later, suddenly it's like, Matthew Broderick, that's not right. You're more of a comedy kind of guy. You know, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is a great movie. Oh, that's how I linked it. That's how I linked it to Monty Python, because I bring up Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and it's a fun movie. I like it, but the thing is, when you watch it again, if you enjoy the movie when you saw it, however old that movie is, give it another watch, and you'll notice how it's still, you like it, probably if you liked it back then, but it's not nearly as funny as you remember. And that's a sad ordeal. Let's watch me fail this again. Spoiler alert, you're meant to jump from the top. Look at me almost there. Oh, you scrub lord. You can't make it. You can't. I betcha, had I have thrown my spear, I would have been able to grab onto it and climb up. But then I probably figure it out. And yeah, you're seeing a couple more levels of karma. There's a new pattern with the karma. You can see in the bottom left, it looks like a 3-leaf clover. Each, at its lowest level, you can lose karma back to the upside down too. That is possible. You just have an additional 5 levels of karma now as, I guess, backup. So you can still get through karma gates even if you die a couple of times. They start off, the new levels, they start off as 4 circles, and then each level up, it replaces 1 circle with a diagonal line pointing towards the center. So eventually, once you're at max karma, you have a cross instead of 4 circles. I probably figure it out now at this point. So watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off in the modern day, it's funny. It was funny back then, but nowadays it seems a little bit underwhelming, admittedly. I still like it. I still think it's funny, but if you try to educate your friends and watch it with them and, you know, like, hold on to your C's, this was the funniest thing 10 years ago. Yeah, you're not going to get many laughs. Which then links my way back to Monty Python, because oddly enough, the first viewing of, and I'm sure this holds true for a lot of people, ta-da, that's how you make the jump, their first watching of Monty Python tends to not be that funny. I think it's hilarious now. Please don't persecute me for saying Monty Python isn't funny on its first viewing. It's just the very first time you get exposed to it, it's just kind of like, okay, sure. Oh wow, blue lizard. What do I do here? Do I try to spear it? No. Run. Just run away. Blue lizards are the easiest to kill, by the way, just with a single spear. Because they're the ones that are seemingly most balanced. They tend to be aggressive. Oh, yeah, vulture. They tend to be aggressive enough to chase you. They have a little bit of an extra reach with tongue, and they can crawl on background elements. So it seems fair. Like, compared to white lizard, oh, dude, don't. Oh, I rolled off. And this is when I start talking about analog control sticks, right? So compared to white lizards, they take 2 shots to kill, which might seem make them overpowered because they are easily more dangerous than the blue lizards. But that said, white lizards are a lot more passive. They tend to just ambush you, so you can very easily avoid them. They're not aggressive, that kind of thing. Before I get back to Monty Python, this is where I start talking about analog sticks, where this is weird. I'm playing Rain World on a controller using not the D-pad. I use can you use the D-pad even? I'm not sure. I use the analog stick. And that's weird to me, and I'm sure to a lot of other people. I much prefer using, truth be told, if I'm playing a platformer, I prefer playing it on a keyboard because the distinct and discrete movement buttons, left, right, up, and down, just add, I think most other platformers are built with these discrete movement controls in mind. Rain World, I'm sure, is also built with these discrete movement. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's built with these discrete key bindings in mind. But I prefer playing it with an analog stick because it gives me a lot more finesse with the controls. Because you saw earlier, or I think the previous episode, I was rolling, I was sliding, I was doing backflips. I get the impression I just like having that extra bit of finesse to my controls because I feel like this game does demand it to a degree. And this is where I bring up how I rolled off because I was pointing down, and this is the shortcoming of the analog stick. I was pointing down on my analog stick, but being an analog stick, it's a little bit tricky to get it straight down. So the way you roll is by pointing diagonally downwards. The result being, don't die here, the result being I wasn't properly pointing downwards, and therefore I ended up sliding, just rolling right off, much to my own chagrin. And this is where something important happens. You're going to see this effect, this blue haze, and it goes back. There's another echo right here, except echoes don't just spawn all the time. Sometimes you have to trigger them to spawn, and you trigger them spawning by going to their domain. You have that weird blue haze effect play. Yes, you have this blue haze effect play, and that means the next cycle, if you successfully hibernate, there will be an echo there. So that's something I bring up. Back to the analog sticks. So I ended up rolling off because I'm not pointing directly down, and a good player should be able to. A good player would probably know not to. Yeah, a good player would either be able to point directly down on the analog stick and be able to land on the pipe first go anyways. So a good player is not really hampered by an analog control stick. Or alternatively, a good player knows not to actually point down on the control stick at all, just to first land with the control stick in a neutral position, which puts you at a standstill. Once it's at a standstill, you can then very easily weasel your way down into the pipe. Quite straightforward, really. And so I bring that up, talking about, whatever. And now, after this point, I'm pretty sure I'll go back to listen to that echo because there's more lore, and I will give a slight interpretation to the lore because it's, well, interesting. I'd say. It adds a lot to this game. Because this game definitely has this feeling of, you can see even here, there's a bit of a weird blue filter being applied right now. Also, noteworthy, there are no enemies. And I wonder if we see that in action. Because it's terrifying when you're walking around. Anything that gets close to you whenever there's a blue haze like this, it falls unconscious. So you'll have sometimes vultures who are outside the orb of the circle of influence, the AoE, who will then try to snipe you, and then before you can even see them, they fall unconscious. So you have this vulture that just falls right past you. And it's really scary because this game kind of conditions you to, the moment you see a vulture to panic. Well, maybe not quite panic. Oh, so much ambience is being lost. There's currently whale noises playing in the background. Like, moo. Think of Dory from Finding Nemo. And you have this slightly ambient, ethereal music being played in the background. And you can see how I start moving very sluggishly, slow motion almost. This game is amazing, by the way. Do I continue what I was saying about Monty Python? Is it appropriate just before speaking to an echo? Because I was going to say Monty Python. You watch it, the first exposure is sort of like, okay, whatever. But it's so easily quotable and you just keep quoting it and eventually it becomes the funniest thing you've ever seen amongst friends. And it's just, everyone you watch after is great. Behold this empty husk of a land, populated only by storms, ruins, and abominations. It wasn't always thus. I was once the count of 2 living blocks, esteemed by my peers. I had progeny. From within my vessel of flesh, I would perch upon this spot to observe the rising of the sun. Corporeal matters seem so distant now. Most have forgotten this place, but I remain. Perhaps I reminisce because I cannot go. Perhaps I cannot go because memory traps me here. Yeah. So this links back to these people. Oh, whenever you speak to an echo, your karma goes to max. You can sequence break. It's possible to speak to echoes before getting the mark. And I'll leave that up to you to find out what happens with your karma. But that's all. The echo was referencing back to he was once flesh. So he was obviously a precursor. He had memories here. And he wasn't able to escape. What else did he just bring up? There was something else. So he was a precursor. There was a second point. He cannot go because maybe he reminisces. Maybe memory traps him here. Yeah, that's the second part. Maybe there are some people who are unable to leave. And this links back to Buddhist ideas. Maybe I'm not suggesting this game was developed with Buddhist ideas in mind. It just happens to coincide quite strongly to some of these Buddhist ideas of karmic cycles, death and rebirth. Escaping typically involved trying to rid yourself of your vices. And seemingly some people were perhaps unable to do it. So the old way that Five Pebbles might have been referencing could have been about ridding yourself of your vices versus the newer way that was discovered that caused a mass exodus, a mass ascension amongst our precursors. Maybe that wasn't completely successful. It's just some food for thought. Unfortunately, I can't delve too much into the lore. Wow, I almost missed. I can't delve too much into the lore in this game directly. I'll have to sort of narrate it to you secondhand and maybe bring your attention to certain things because it'll definitely increase the playtime by a whole lot. So, because a lot of lore is locked up in pearls and you extract those lore. You extract the lore from the pearls by taking them to Big Sister Moon, which is quite a distance away. So unfortunately, I'm not exactly in the position to do it. I can't teleport either. Plus, it's a long trek back. It's a very long trek back. Oh yeah, by the way, welcome to the Sky Islands. This is a new area. This will remind you a little bit of the shore. By the way, this is currently open air right now, so you can get attacked. Hold on, you can see this happen right now. It was a white lizard. I was screaming, and do I try to spear it through the mouth? I wonder. Because did you see that? That was almost the greatest BS death. I have no idea how I spotted that in the first place. I was almost crying. Come on. I speared it through its mouth. Because it had tried to tongue me. You know, yeah, white lizards will actually try to steal your spear off you. They are smart enough to sometimes... Lizards are actually quite intelligent. If you're holding a spear, they won't approach you from the sides. They'll try to approach you from above or below you because you can't throw spears straight up or straight down. White lizards additionally have the ability to steal your spear, to disarm you, because then you are just a free meal. Also here, this is what I meant when this might remind you of the shore. You can hold flies and use them to aid you in your mobility. Like in the shore, you could grab those fish to swim faster. Flies, they let you jump higher and they let you glide. White flies are the best flies, I've noticed. Some flies, yeah, like these must be some new enemies. I don't recall some of these different colored flies. I only remember white flies with light blue coloring and black flies with light blue coloring. Not these other black flies with deeper blues or these different white flies with deeper blues as well. They white flies are the best because they don't play dead. All these other flies, if you tend to use them a lot, they just sometimes they'll play dead. And when they play, I guess they get tired. When that happens, suddenly you're lugging around extra weight and you can't. And it happens almost exclusively during a clutch moment when you're trying to make a big jump and then they drop dead and you along with them. It sucks. So I suspect with the update there have been a couple of new flies introduced because they seem a lot more regressive than I remember. They try to rush you and it's scary. Now you're going to have to bear with me these next 15 minutes because I get lost easily. I have a story about this area. I remember the first time playing this place, I explored almost exhaustively the entire area. For the life of me, I could not find the shelter. Nothing would do. And eventually my time was running out. The rain was about to start falling. In fact, the screen had started shaking and I just run into that room I was in earlier with a shelter in it and I see it and it was such a moment of pure adrenaline. I was shaking. This game, it really taps into these communications array. That might be those spires you saw in the previous episode that reach out into the sky. Might be the communications array. So this game taps into these very primitive, primordial feelings that no other game does. And see, this is where it becomes pivotal to have a fly. There are these jumps which you just cannot make without a fly. It also helps to have a fly anyways because they give you a lot of extra room for error. You can also speedrun using flies. Flies are hugely important because of all that extra mobility they give you. This is obviously not the right way. I think I realize I'm just going a dead end. And no? Do I honestly? Okay. I still try to explore. I should be a little bit more familiar with this place by virtue of I have already played the Hunter's campaign. The Hunter Slugcat. He starts not in this area, but very close to this area. And so I ended up exploring. I should know this area much better. In fact, I'm pretty sure you see me. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. I refuse to die to a lizard, so I just decided to kill myself. Obviously, that's the best thing to do. You see me do this kind of Hail Mary strat where I know the future map well enough to be able to just do a huge amount of area without saving. And it was risky, but it pays off. Spoiler alert, it pays off. There should be new enemies. There are new enemies in this area. I mean, you definitely do meet... When I'm playing the Hunter, For some reason, this place generally is getting swarmed by a couple of new enemies, and it sucks. It sucks so bad. But for some reason, playing now as just vanilla Slugcat, it doesn't really work out. What do you try to do? And yeah, the white. Oh, yeah, I guess I got cocky. I'm on the edge of my seat because something really funny happens at this moment. So I realize, oh, hey, look, that's right. They'll eat the white fly. I guess he's preoccupied. I'll just walk past. Nope, dead. And then a vulture comes in. The lizard's trying to escape. And he catches the lizard, and I come out all well and good and alive. Because in this game, I was laughing so hard and so much. And that's when I realized, oh, look, there's a pipe right here that maybe I should go through. Something, you don't actually die in this game until you get dragged off into a hibernation hole by one of your enemies. Sometimes even the enemies completely fail to kill you when they bite you. I'm sure you've seen it a few times where I get bit down on by a lizard and then I just manage to weasel my way out. Dude, don't. Go right. What are you doing? No. Oh. Wow, watching myself play. Yeah, I suck. What of it? You're watching this for some reason. It's a shame I am not doing this game justice. And supposedly there's going to be yet another expansion being built. And I think that expansion will have new areas. That's right. That's what happens here. And the fly comes out. It's like, oh, I'm free now. Toodaloo. God damn it. I guess now I realize I should head downwards instead of upwards. No, I don't. I do head upwards like an idiot. Yeah, I don't even know. With the current expansion, there is, I forgot, this is the big thing that the expansion introduces, a new arena mode, a multiplayer arena mode where you can both play the game competitively. I will show that off because it's difficult to explain in words, but you're given one screen and the competition is to it's to try and survive as long as you can while an infinite number of lizards get sicked on you. And there are new collectibles to collect in this overworld. He stole my fly, he let it go, and then he comes after me. How joyous. How beautiful. There are collectibles to be found in the overworld. And I believe we do find one of them eventually. They have a very distinct... I almost died. Wow. Trying to catch that white. Ah, damn it. See, the white fly with light blue is much better than pretty much every other fly. There's a distinct noise whenever you walk past a collectible. Oh, bugs. Joy to the world. Those things, yeah, they kill you. Everything kills you in this game. Unfortunately, without the sound, you're not going to hear it. It sounds distinctly electronic. Oh my god. Whoa, did you see that? I didn't see the lizard at all. Wow. It's okay. I have only 10 more minutes of this horrendous gameplay to bear before I can have a break. Eat some lunch. How was your lunch? What did you do for lunch today? I haven't had lunch yet. Man, this sucks because I could be playing the game right now. That's what I want to be doing. I make so much progress and I got so far. I tried so hard and got so far. Yet I have to do this recording. It's weird. Definitely weird talking in post. It's kind of cool. It's like doing a podcast. I've considered doing a podcast. In fact, I've already started a draft for one of my newer video types. I've mentioned this so many times before. It's basically a hollow promise at this point. But I assure you, not anymore, because I've started work on a new kind of analysis video. To give you the working title of it, it's a theme analysis of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Fate vs. Free Will, and Nintendo's shortcomings. That is the working title. I think it might be the official title by the end, because I want to talk about, in particular, how my relationship with Wind Waker is complicated. I love the game so much. I like the game so much. In fact, I'm so frustrated with how it failed to deliver on some really, really cool moments in the game. And people who've played Wind Waker probably know what I'm getting at. The big example being the last third of the game is basically that's a collectible. You can see these weird D legs. They normally show a diamond in the middle, but because there's a vulture nearby, they go into hiding. So you can't collect it when there's danger nearby, so you have to wait until the danger's not there, and it never goes away, and whatever, I miss out on a collectible. I'll have to play the game again anyways. Look at those clouds in the background. Back to Wind Waker. Most people who've played know that the last third of the game, there's just a really bad, boring fetch quest, which I enjoy quite a lot, but I understand where people come from when they say it just sucked. And the video that I'm trying to make is extending beyond just that the game sucked at that moment, but also the story fell apart at that moment as well. And I'd like to explore that in a little bit more depth and detail. See how it builds it up and then subsequently forgets about it and then brings it back again. Zelda has a weird habit of doing this. Well, Nintendo has a weird habit of doing that in their Nintendo games, where they bring up some interesting, more mature and more adult themes, which then all of a sudden tend to get shirked. I jumped down on purpose, by the way. I thought, there might be something down there. My memory tells me there's something down there. And I jump off and I died. In my defense, there is an area which looks exactly the same where you can jump down, and there is in fact ground down beneath me. So this is, I assume, my successful run. Get hyped. We're going to make it. Noteworthy, it is a lot easier to talk about the game or to talk about things when you're not playing the game. At the same time, though, there were a lot of really cool moments, bits of commentary and jokes that I lost because of no commentary. Oh, I remember, I thought it was funny. I mentioned how, the white lizard, which it grabbed onto my fly, but then when I tried to walk past it, it then killed me. I remember talking about, obviously that's how it's going to be. It's a very opportunistic meal. Oh dear. Wow. And I thought it was funny how I'm talking obviously, and there's scavengers. Obviously, the lizard's going to do this. I'm not sure how lucrative a slugcat is to the meal to its dietary needs. Oh, I don't know. I'm not a biologist. Don't ask me. I thought that was funny, but alas, that's been lost in time forever. This looks like a war zone, and you can see me tempting fate. You can see there's that umbrella plant on the right-hand side of the screen. I was thinking maybe, just maybe, I throw away my fly, pick up a spear, and then try to get that. Why is my dog barking in the background? Why is it always when I'm recording? When I recorded this live, there was no problem. Oh, here comes a vulture. Oh, that's so morbid. This game very quickly devolves into a war zone. Except this is a more kind of, I feel more comfortable fighting lizards and scavengers and vultures. They just seem, a natural part of the world. Oh, this is the worst part. Look at this. I have to jump, and then the camera doesn't adjust, so you have to do a blind jump. And you can see and I missed that jump. And I'm getting attacked. Yes, I'm getting attacked by this centipede because there's music playing, and it drops down trying to get me. Oh, wow, it almost got me. And yeah, things like centipedes, on the other hand, they don't... When I'm trying to fight against them, whenever they're included in a war zone, it feels less like a war zone and more like guerrilla warfare, and suddenly I feel very, very scared and very uncomfortable. Though this is a point I do recognize very well during my hunter, when you play as the hunter Slugcat. So I'm quite familiar and somewhat confused that there are a couple of new enemy types which should be here at this point, and they're not. They're nowhere to be found. I mean, I should be grateful because some of these enemies are quite scary. In fact, there's a point. Oh yeah, this is where I realize where I am now, and I go full-blown Hail Mary. just jumping to the end. Wait. No. Wrong way. Wrong way. I think maybe I figure out now which way is the right way. Because it's down to the left across. Yeah, wow. That lizard fell. Yellow lizards. We've met them before, right? Yellow lizards, they are... Oh, wait, no, hold up. New enemy, bottom right corner. These flying worms and these little flying worms that accompany it are really interesting enemy. The big worm is like the alpha, I guess, or the parent almost. They're, don't mess with them. He doesn't mess with you. His little children, I guess, if you can eat them. If you start eating them though, they release a honking. They start honking really loudly before they stop. That calls all nearby large worms. And what they do is they then become aggressive. They extend their nose into a spear, and then they spear you. It is terrifying. I ought to really show it off. I'll definitely show it off because I'll probably play the Hunters campaign on camera as well, because I have a goal of my own that I want to achieve as the Hunter. The cool thing about the Hunter is that he or she or it has a finite number of cycles. So instead of the cycles counting upwards, they count downwards with the Hunter. And then once you hit 0, once you die, you don't respawn. It's kind of scary. So these worms, they spear you. They act like a normal spear. In fact, they can miss you. If you're very lucky, they'll miss you. They'll hit a wall and they'll get stuck to that wall, and you can then kill them that way. Also, ta-da, there's some food, which I know from memory because I recognize this place quite a lot. It's here, I think, where you start the Hunters campaign, or very close to here where you start the Hunters campaign. And I have to do this slightly dangerous maneuver of having to wall jump to get those seeds. It was scary for me. I didn't realize then that there's a pole I could literally climb and hold on to. Let's see if I just climb up the pole now. Yeah, see, look, I just climb up. And I don't realize at the time what I've done. Yikes. Seriously, your attention gets really, really split playing this game. Anyways, 30 seconds left on the clock. There is a shelter coming up and a gate, so you know what to expect in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate your viewership. I do appreciate your patience as well. I know no audio kind of sucks. A lot of ambience is lost, but alas, this is better than nothing, I would argue. So, thanks so much, and see you next time. Bye.